Welcome to Steelers Weekly. I'm your host, Brian Schmidt, and with me, as always, former Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver, Dwight Stone. Dwight, how you doing this week?
Well, we're doing good. The weather over here is still a little warm. I heard that y'all having like a heat wave over in Texas.
Yeah, we had a heat wave until it started yesterday and then today, and I kind of saw, where there used to be bulls and cows, I started seeing reindeer, and heard something about Santa relocating. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh.
They tend to around here, anything below 30 degrees, all of a sudden, it's time to start throwing babies in the air and anything confined, and it's like newspaper delivery trucks are in trouble because they start stealing the trucks and lighting the papers on fire.
Hey, good firewood.
Best part about Texas is, that lasts for a couple of days, and all of a sudden it goes back to 50 and 60, and everybody starts breathing again. So I can't wait for the first snow here. I can't wait for that to happen. That's going to be awesome, because I can't wait to see, anywhere I've been where they don't really have snow, and then they start losing their mind. And I can't wait to watch that. That will be fun.
Mm-hmm. Everybody gonna drive stab me like it's sunny outside, and they try to.
Either that or they drive 2.5 miles an hour for a half inch of snow that's melting as it hits the ground. I mean, it's like, come on, people. Come on now. It's okay.
It's okay, yeah. Like you want to push them.
So that's like, okay, well, so here we are. So with that, happy feelings this week as the Steelers came up with a very, and I have to honestly say it, a very impressive 24-14 win over the Giants. Ben was 24-36, 289, 2 touchdowns. Bell, once again, and we've talked about this week. Boy, put the ball in his hands.
Gave it to him.
29 carries, 118 yards, 6 catches, 64 yards. Distributed the ball. I thought Ben distributed the ball well. You had Green 6 catches, 110 yards. Bell 6 catches. Brown 6 catches. James had 3. Mm-hmm. Great ball distribution. Now, the one thing against Bell that has been brought up is for a guy that really didn't fumble a whole lot this year, he's got a case of fumbleitis. This week was the first one that he'd lost. But I find it interesting, and we're going to kind of start there and then, kind of go from the negative and work into the positive. Everybody keeps jumping on that he's fumbled the ball this year. Even there was a fumble in the preseason game that he played. Is this a cause for concern?
It can be, I think teams now are realizing that, Bell's a playmaker. And the one thing that people are seeing, too, he's carrying the ball very loosely. And they're figuring that, hey, if we can have him concentrate on holding to the ball, he'll be affected in his running style. So I think teams are trying to strip the ball for him. If you take the ball from him, then his running style is going to change because he's trying to protect the ball. So I think more teams will attack him just to see if he corrected that problem. But like I said, this is the only year that I've seen him have this kind of problem. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how Buffalo will be a team that's out to get him too.
Well, when we look at this team, we'll start with the offense. The guy that I want to talk about, and just, we talk about Ben a lot. I mean, Ben is Ben. Ben does his job. Yes. Ladarius Green.
How about that?
Here we are. We signed in the offseason, and everybody went, we got a replacement for Miller. And then, with Green's injury issues and everything, and everybody went, what are we going to do?
Yes.
Now he's back. We've already seen what Judge James can do. In some ways, this Steeler offense is, I guess mirroring itself into what the Patriots do.
Exactly.
Obviously, when they had Gronkowski, with that, having those two tight ends and having a guy, and obviously Ladarius Green is not a Gronkowski, but the same idea. You have that athletic tight end that can stretch the field. He's a matchup nightmare for DBs and safeties and linebackers. Linebackers he's going to run away from because he's fast.
Yes.
Safeties, he depending upon the safety, he's got that size and speed advantage. And with corners, he's got that size advantage and still has good speed. Talk a little bit about the dynamic of having a guy like that at the tight end spot.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go back. I didn't tell you, I went up there on Friday, and I saw them scrimmage on Saturday. I was in there talking to Mr. Rooney, and I was watching the players when they were doing a walkthrough. And I was talking to Todd Haley, and he had mentioned, he said, we got something that is going to be exciting. And I'm thinking, like, wow, what is this? I say, he said, just wait. And sure enough, to have somebody like Green come up, like he is like Gronkowski. He's I should say, I'm back up. He's not Gronkowski. He's our I guess, version of Gronkowski. But Gronkowski has been doing it for years at a time. Having him takes the pressure off of Bell, off of Ben, off of Jesse, off of, whoever. Now you got like 4 or 5 guys that if you have checked down, 1 is not there, 2, 3, 4. Now you're trying to figure out defense-wise, like, okay, which one do we want to let us kill us? And pretty much you don't want Brown, you don't want Bell. Now you got Green and Jesse James. So there you go. That's the New England Patriots right there. The tight ends are just going to do it.
And that was the first thing that I thought of in watching the game, and obviously, it was immediately brought up by other people is it's a mirror image idea of what you see from the Patriots, which my whole thing is, look, there's nothing, you want to emulate the best out there.
Exactly,
why wouldn't you want to do what the Patriots do? And so certainly, I love it. I tell you, I was very excited about the game and how it played out. Watching the Steelers really just, in many ways, I felt like it was somewhat of a dominating performance.
Mm-hmm. I do agree.
First of all, you're talking almost 400 yards total offense. They had 389.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the third quarter after Bell's fumble, you never felt, at least I didn't, that put the score, I believe it was, coming into the fourth, it was 21-7, but you never felt like the game was, you just never felt like it was close.
Exactly.
So outstanding performance offensively. Again, just seeing how the offense just again spreads the ball around it, and who you going to cover, who you going to put emphasis on. So I thought that was a great performance, and defensively, and a guy I want to talk about. And there's one guy that I want to talk about, and this guy is a rookie, and his name is Artie Burns.
Yes.
I've got to tell you, first of all, he led the team in tackles. Had a couple of nice pass breakups, but
yes.
Here's a guy that, in my mind, he's done exactly what you would want out of your top rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He's gotten better as the years gone on.
Yes, he has.
I've been real impressed with him. I thought overall defensively, I thought this was a good defensive performance. When you talk about Eli Manning, 24-39, but only 195 yards. He had 2 touchdown passes, but he had 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
The running game that we talked about with Giants was virtually non-existent. But the stat that jumped out at me, and this is why when we talk about Burns and we talk about the DBs, this was the stat that jumped out at me. Beckham, 10 catches, only 100 yards, no touchdowns.
And most of the yards came at the end of the game.
And most of the yards came at the end of the game. Talk about the job Steelers defense did on that, and how frustrating is it as a receiver when you just can't seem to get your touches and just can't seem to get your yards.
Yes, I think Harrison started off with that safety. He's a beast. I saw this guy on Saturday when I was over there, and I was looking at him. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This guy is built like a brick house. And, he had that tackle grabbing shoulder pads, grabbing everything, trying to stop him. And then to see out there at Burns, here's a guy, Odell Beckham, was shot. He kept crying to the referees about he's doing this, he's doing that. That young man and that secondary was hitting Beckham, and they was all over him that he got so frustrated he was complaining to the officials than trying to play the game. And, over the course of a year, the rookie, Burns, he has done great. He learned, I guess, the older guys are showing him, what to do, how to do it, and I guess he's a good student. And if you become a good student, you understand things, and you start watching more films. And if you're a guy like Beckham, you're not getting your touches because you see your boy across from you. You see Antonio Brown doing his thing, so you want to do your thing. And it probably frustrated him so much that he just got all out of kilter. He was arguing. He just out of his game. And that was a frustrating receiver. When a DB, especially a young DB, is showing you off and, you're on primetime television and you're trying your best, and this young man just keep covering you. So he did a great job, outstanding job.
Yeah, and again, Timmons, interception. Davis had the interception. All of a sudden, and ever since 2 weeks ago, we brought up the whole, not a lot of turnover, not a lot of interceptions. All of a sudden, the DB was getting interceptions, linebackers were still getting there. All of a sudden, it's just funny how that's happened. They must have listened to the show and been like, we ain't dealing with this. So, we appreciate the DBs listening and getting fired up because of us.
Brian,
I felt like, as I said, this was a dominating performance. This is exactly, and let's talk about this. The Steelers in December. And we talked about this, 4 or 5 weeks ago. We talked about, when things were not there. Obviously, a lot of talk with Tomlin, and we talked about, my feelings then, was if the Steelers don't make the playoffs, I think that it could be very bad for his job, and I don't know that there's any other way around it. But as I also said, and as we also talked about, the bottom line comes down to this. We've talked about the Steelers in the second half of the season, and especially in December. And I feel like we're starting to see that again, where the Steelers come in at 6-5, they come into December in that 6-5 mode, then all of a sudden they just start reeling wins off, and it seems like we're at that point again where they are starting to take over at the right time.
Yes. You said it, they're taking over at the right time, and they're on a nice little incline right now. But the team that they're about to play, it kind of scares me because there's on an incline also when they play the Dolphins. They had a nice little incline going. Everybody was, on up and up. And you got the Bills who are only one game really behind, I think, of them. And at the same time, they have nothing to lose. They have a lot to gain from this win also. So I don't think, Todd, the coach over in it's two Todds. Well, this was the head coach for the Bills. And I think he's feeling the heat over there. I think people are complaining about, him doing this, him doing that. And what will cure anything for that? If the Buffalo Bills somehow manage to beat the Steelers, and I think you told me this stat, against a losing team, the Steelers their record is unusual, I think, after a win or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yep.
I'm scared about this game. This game here is kind of scaring me.
Well, and let's get into this game a little bit. The Steelers right now sit at 7-5. Even though if the playoffs started today, they're out of the playoffs. Really, quite honestly, the Steelers control their own destiny. They play the Ravens again. The Ravens have the Patriots this week. A lot. They do have the Patriots this week, right? I didn't just they do have the Patriots this week. I was thinking, boy, I hope I didn't overshoot this like last week. I overshot it by a week. So, you're looking at a situation where that's, even though the Ravens, probably more than any team in the NFL, has had success against the Patriots, this is the game that I think the Patriots, can win.
Yeah.
So, if everything works the way we hope, now that puts the Ravens at 7-6.
That's right.
A win here now puts you in first place. It puts you into the playoffs. And again, you control your destiny. You've got the Ravens coming up. Everything about this game is huge. And it's also huge for Buffalo. Buffalo's sitting at 6-6 right now.
That's right.
This is a team who, a win here and the Steelers loss, they're going to flip-flop in the hunt for the playoffs. So this game is big on a lot of scale. And what also scares me, this game is in Buffalo.
Yes.
And Buffalo has had very good success over the years. Even when they've not been a very good team, of knocking off very good teams in Buffalo. But did you ever play in Buffalo?
Oh yes, and that win is a different kind of win on how the ball curves in there, and the fans they come out. I mean, bad as it may be playing, them fans come out, especially against the Steelers too, and it's right down the road from it. It's not like it's a long drive or a commute, and that's going to be a highlight game,
Talk a little bit about playing in Buffalo. Talk a little bit about when obviously you were playing against Buffalo when Kelly and the Red Gun was there.
Jim Kelly, yes. Right. Oh man, yes.
Talk a little bit about how that and about how that was.
Yeah, Thurman Thomas. Yeah, Andre Reed. Yeah, Bruce Smith. Yeah, guys like Hall of Famers left and right. And when they came out. Like I said, things may be quiet and things wasn't going good for them, but when them fans get to going and they start to yelling and they start to, it's just unusual. And the wind that blows in there, it's a different kind of wind. It blows in and it curves a way that you're not normally used to. And you got to, if it's a windy day, kicking the field goals and whatever and long, deep balls, they're totally different than whenever you're playing in Buffalo and the wind's not blowing. So that's a big factor right there. And another big factor is that in Buffalo, anything goes. I mean, they do all kind of, trick plays from onside kick at the beginning of the game to, a fake punt, so they got to be very careful on anything and every play.
When I look at Buffalo, we'll start with the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor.
Yes.
In what I've seen of Buffalo and being here in Texas, I've got to go up to the roof with a wire coat hanger and everything just sometimes to see the Steelers play. So I haven't seen Buffalo a lot this year.
Okay.
But from what I have seen, Tyrod Taylor, to me, is a here's a quarterback that completes 60% of his passes, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. They don't ask him to do a lot in the passing game. They ask him to manage the game in the passing game. Now he has been sacked 34 times, but a lot of that is coming from a guy. I mean, here's a guy that, the quarterback position is rushed for 469 yards on the year. So, obviously, he's a dual threat. He could do some things. Then, they got McCoy at the running back spot. I mean, here's a guy that
he's nice.
We know who he is. Offensively, this is a team that averages 25 points a game. I mean, they're ninth in the NFL.
Wow.
This is not a pushover team. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So, when you look at that, and defensively, they certainly they're what's the best way of saying this to be nice. This is a defense that they give up 346 yards a game. They give up 230 passing yards a game. They give up 116 yards rushing a game. They give up 22 points a game. So they're not exactly making you feel real good. Offensively, the Steelers ought to be licking their chops. I mean, but again, kind of coming back to what you talked about. I mean, depending upon the weather in Buffalo, I mean, it changes everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're really looking at a situation where this is a Buffalo team offensively that is very good. Defensively, not very good. The Steelers very good offensively. Defensively, can go back and forth at times. Can look very good 1 minute, and not very good next. So, let's talk a little bit about how you see this game playing out, and what are your keys to the Steelers winning this game?
The one thing they have to do, they have to contain Taylor. I think that he's going to make them realize that he's going to take off at any given time to make up for coverages that people are covering his guys real tight. And he's hoping that when he starts scrambling, that's what sometimes Steelers get in trouble because everybody start losing who they're supposed to be with, and that opens things up. Because there's a scrambling quarterback, it's hard to then find, like, should I go or tackle him, or should I stay with my guy? So you got to decide which one you're going to do, and it's a 50-50. If you choose the wrong one, I guess their confidence up, I guess them going, and one of the keys to the Steelers is not letting them hang around. If you let a team hang around and you think they can do it and they get a little confidence in them and they say, like, hey, you know what, we're not that bad as people say we are. And then the crowd get behind them and everything get to going and the band start playing. And what do you know? Here you go again, the Miami Dolphins. You can't let them stay in. If you get them down, you got to choke them out. I don't mean that in a literal way, but you got to make sure that if you got them down, you got to put them away. Because if you let them hang around, they could easily find a way to win.
I'm not sure I'd be upset if they literally choked them out. Just turn it into an MMA fight, choke them out, get your hand raised, go home. I mean, they'll wake up eventually.
A little rugby?
a little rugby time. Why not? No, I agree. I think it's really defensively against the Giants. Offensively, got to continue to do things we're doing. Again, and I say this weekly, but we've got to put the ball in Bell's hands. Depending on, and I'm not sure what the weather's going to be in Buffalo on Sunday, but I mean, depending upon the weather, very important to make sure that you put the ball in his hands. And I think the offensive line right now is playing, great football.
Yes, they are.
And I believe, you've got to continue to make it happen. Make teams have to defend everybody, and it starts with giving the ball to Bell. I'm a true believer that when you have a back like Bell, when you start there, if they're going to take that away, now you've got exactly what you want on the outside. With Antonio Brown, you've got what you want on the outside with Green. So now can work your combination. So with that, give me an idea of what you think the score is going to be.
If it snows, I think it will probably be. It's going to be a low-scoring game, and I'm thinking the Steelers will come out with, 20-10.
Okay, I'm going to go with 27-20. I think it's going to be, with McCoy running the football, Taylor,
yes.
I think there's some things they can do there. But I think in the end, I think that offensively, as we continue with giving the ball to Bell, put the ball in these guys' hands, we can put ourselves in a spot to score some points, even if the weather's bad. Put the ball in Bell's hands, let him run. Let's keep the idea of doing what we've done the last few weeks, and that is, really start the game off with Bell, and then you work it from there. And I think that's going to be real key. So, I'm going to say 27-20.
Okay.
But this is, obviously, this is, can't stress enough, it's a huge game. And any Steelers fans that are listening to this in the Buffalo area, if you can get tickets, go to the game and, yell and scream. I hope to see a huge Steeler contingent there. So, but with that, anything else you got going this week?
No, getting ready for Christmas, and hope everybody out there who's getting ready and traveling be safe, and may God bless everybody each and every day.
All right, and I hope everybody's gonna have a great week, and everybody, again, there's a lot of great shows on growingtruth.net. Take time to listen. We've got a great NFL pick'em show that I'm on, and I went 9-5 last week. So, I'm only 3 games back of the leader.
Whoa!
I'm gotta keep the momentum going.
Are you Jimmy the Greek?
Yeah, almost. I probably need more money and something. I don't know. But with that, hey everybody, I appreciate everybody listening, and we will be back next week, and hopefully once again we will get to talk about Steeler victory. It makes life so much simpler.
Yes, always.
So with that, Dwight Stone, I hope you have a good week.
You too,
and everybody else have a great week, and we will see you next week. Take care, everybody.